Good evening, DeGent Nation. This is Money Mansman, joined by Big Bucks Beta, back from the mecca of sports gambling to join me for our Week 7 recap. Can you believe it, buddy? 7 weeks of the NFL season gone already.
Yeah, I mean, God, it seems like yesterday we just did week one and it was Labor Day, and now all of a sudden, like, I went to Mecca, I had my little spiritual revival, uh, had my little bit of cleansing full of liquor and sin, and I'm back, and it like the trip's already over. Unfortunately, I kind of wish it went better. We'll get into why my bets weren't so hot, but how some of them actually did kind of salvage it in the end. But
Yeah, so you went to
um,
Vegas for that festival, right? How'd that work out for
yeah,
you?
yeah. So for those who really don't know, I'm a big emo kid at heart. Love the screaming music, love the metal music. Say what you will, I don't really give a shit. That's my cup of tea. You have yours, I have mine. So they had this big festival, and I'm going to get real brief into why people were skeptical of this to begin with, including myself. Number one, it was hosted by Live Nation. In the wake of the Travis Scott Astro World catastrophe, where some people had died, people had gotten injured, and there was like this lack of care from Live Nation. Now all of a sudden they were being sued, and then they threw this festival together. A lot of big name bands, including a comeback for My Chemical Romance, who had been on a hiatus for a number of years. Me, my fiance, and both of our brothers, respectively, including producer John, decided we were going to go check this out. So we put in for a hotel package with the concert to attend the Saturday festival. And by the way, we stayed at the Resorts World at the Hilton. We ended up getting bumped up to the Conrad side. Very exquisite, very nice. Don't really have too much of a negative thing to say about the hotel, other than the sports book, which I'll get into after the concert bullshit. But long story short, Saturday morning, we get dressed, we head down, we get in line, we're waiting, and it's now past 5 minutes for when the gates are supposed to open, and I have to go to Will Call to go get our tickets. And a guy comes out. No microphone, no real security or anything. He just comes out with a couple guys, says something out loud, but I can't hear shit. It's so windy because it was like 20 to 30 mile an hour wind warning or wind advisory. They had canceled the entire day for this festival.
100,000 people, too, there for the festival, though.
Estimated about 100,000 people were supposed to come.
Jesus.
There was at least, I'm not bullshitting you, there was at least 8 to 9,000 at the time. It was like 8,000 of us in line. And this was like 3 hours early before the festival was really supposed to start. So then Saturday just becomes what you call a Vegas shit show of a bunch of drunk, high, older emo kids who were just
Pissed at
out,
the world.
pissed off at the world, pissed off at Live Nation, and literally out hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Because if they were like us, they didn't just dish out money for the ticket. They dished out money to fly out there. They dished out money to get a hotel. They probably dished out money for food. They dished out money at the casinos, and it was all for naught. And we're sitting here thinking, okay, well, what's the compensation they're going to give us? Well, they didn't have any because they decided to sell out all 3 days. And because all 3 days were sold out, they could not honor our tickets for any other
Yeah,
day. So
wow.
all they could do was offer us a refund of the tickets and the ticket fees
Yeah.
within 30 days. And that's probably what pisses me off the most is between that and the fact that they knew about this wind advisory for like a week. They knew the shit was going to happen, and they still tried to hold it anyways. And it literally took the fire marshal and the police to come in and say, no, you're
Yeah.
not doing this. This is too
Well,
dangerous.
that's because they didn't want to give the refund. And yeah.
No.
Yeah. And that's kind of, I mean, that whole event, I think, was sort of a prelude to how your week 7 went.
Yeah, enough of that shenanigans. Um, so anyways, because I was out in Vegas and I couldn't do really much of handicapping, I was only able to get through the 1 o'clock games. And my flight on top of that was like a red eye flight. So I had to be at the airport by 3 p.m. Pacific time. So even if I were to bet on the later games, I had no way of cashing it in at the sports book. I would have had to mail it in. Not really a good excuse, but my thinking was I'm just going to focus and play the 1 o'clock games. And unfortunately for me, I made the mistake last week of fading Atlanta. This week, I decided to get cute and hop back on the train. And next thing you know, 21-0 down the middle.
Steve's
Fuck
team
up.
finally let him down.
They let me down. Oh God, Detroit let me down. I think we'll just start with Thursday because that was when I got there. So Thursday, I remember my handicap. We both picked the Saints, and essentially it was just a fade of Arizona at home. And there was just like I want to say there was a slight worry between us on whether Kyler would show up with D Hop. Clearly, it's like I've been saying, but like completely
those
forgot.
two pick sixes were just brutal.
God,
Brutal.
right in the half too. Like that just killed the over under.
Brutal. Brutal.
Yeah, 2 pick sixes by Andy Dalton, but also too like I was saying this with D Hop, they're for some reason a better team. Without him, they're garbage. And I was preaching that, and I like totally just let that go and totally forgot. And
I forgot who I tweeted this to, but it was crazy. Like, he's been gone all this time, and he gets 10 receptions first game back. I mean, it's just crazy the target share he gets. It's crazy.
well, considering Hollywood Brown got hurt, they don't have Christian Kirk anymore. AJ Brown is a shell of himself. Like, who else did they really have when you think about it?
I'm telling you, that's kind of my point for this particular game. You look at teams like Green Bay without Devontae Adams. You look at Arizona with D Hop back. You look at the Chargers without Keenan Allen, and we'll get to that game later. I
Oh,
mean, you
Jesus
look at
Christ,
some of
yes.
these teams without their big receivers. It's like night and day, completely different offense.
The Denver Broncos without Drew Lock. I mean, it's just like the same, except we paid $250 million to watch the same thing. No, you're 100% right, and it kind of like it's weird. Like you don't see that with Dallas when they lose Dak Prescott. You don't see that with Denver without Russell Wilson or literally whoever their starting quarterback is that year. Like they go to the backup, it looks like the same damn team. Um, God, like I mean, Baltimore in a sense for a little bit last year when they lost Lamar Jackson, they didn't even look that different, even with Tyler Huntley and who was it, Josh Johnson at the helm. Like it was so crazy. Like you get some of these teams where it's like that. Then you get teams like you mentioned, they lose one player and team goes down.
And it's crazy because I think too, maybe this is the sort of another big point for this week. There are a lot of backup quarterbacks who are looking somewhat competent, who, I mean, I'm almost thinking it's less about the quarterbacks just because of how many mediocre quarterbacks there are in football now, and more these high profile skills players where these skills players are going down and the offense has completely changed. Whether that's Brees Hall for the Jets, Keenan Allen for the Chargers, Devontae Adams gone with the Packers, etc. You're just seeing a lot of skill players go down, and the offenses are just not even anywhere close to what they were beforehand.
I think it comes down to the simple argument: does the quarterback make the receiver? Does the receiver make the quarterback? And I think what we are seeing more often now is that it's the receiver who's going up and making these plays, and it's these quarterbacks who just aren't
Unless
as
you're
good
Patty
anymore.
Mahomes. Unless you're Patty Mahomes and then you lose Tyreek Hill and it's big.
And it doesn't matter because you have Andy Reid, one of the greatest head coaches of all time, and he just lets you do whatever you want, and you just happen to be good at it. It's night and day almost in the NFL watching Patty Mahomes and honestly Josh Allen too. It's like night and day with all these other quarterbacks. There's just a whole sick another level.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that too. So.
Yeah,
but
unfortunately,
that was really all for Thursday.
not on the right side of the New Orleans Arizona game. I watched that at the sports book, and God, that over under was dead by halftime.
Yeah,
I
that was
just
toast.
2 pick sixes. That was just a huge killer.
Then you bet
And,
on the Astros -1.5 in the one game that they only win by one
yeah, I
run.
know. That was the one game. The one game they win by 1 run.
Bro,
I
you're
bet a
nuts.
-1.5. Like,
Bro, you are
and
Friday
they
the
were.
13th. You
Oh, and
are
here's the worst.
unlucky.
Oh, here was the worst part, Jason. Eighth inning, bottom of the eighth. Aaron Judge at the plate. Man on. I want to say first. 2 outs. I hedge that Astros bet. Got it at +800. Put $10, just a simple
Oh
10.
my god.
And Judge hits it. And it goes yard. And I'm like, no fucking way. Pop out.
Oh my god.
I just like again, there's just moments you do that, you have to go to bed. And it's night dipshit. It ain't happening.
Holy
Just
crap.
go.
Bro, I would have been I saw your tickets, bro. I saw what happened to you in Vegas. I would have been you remember the first time I went to Vegas, bro. I would have been hammered. I would have been night clown show. I would have been messed up.
Well, the good news is that the convenience store had a lot of tall boys and a lot of booze for the night after. So I just stocked up and I went to bed.
Yeah.
I mean, God, you're 100%. God, I couldn't like get a good break. And even when I thought like I got this, like I could be smart, I could get nope. Just that was a killer. Oh God, speaking of killers, okay, so let's get into this bullshit. Detroit went to Dallas. They were it literally went between 6 and 7 points. It kept bouncing back and forth. I caught it at 6.5 at one point, and then at another point I caught it at 7. The parlay killer.
Terrible pick.
I heard your handicap. Here was what made me lean Detroit. And this is going to be the common theme that I would have brought up but wasn't available. The theme was that quarterbacks were going to be returning after a long hiatus, and all of a sudden, we're going to expect them to not have hiccups. And we're going to expect them to be phenomenal. And I was like, wait a minute. Dak Prescott has been literally about on point with Kirk Cousins his entire career. Detroit is coming off the bye, who, by the way, they were 4-0 ATS coming off the bye.
On the road in Dallas, though. And if I remember correctly, my handicap wasn't a Dak-based handicap. It was Dallas's defense bounced back after a big loss to the Eagles. And that's kind of how the game played out. I mean, Detroit really...
At the end of it did. But, Paul, like...
Well, you're right about the fumble. Yeah.
God, here's my thing. Like, there were certain moments where, like, the game just got away. Detroit was a fucking yard away from getting 13-7, and that just would have swung the game.
Yeah,
it would have
that
been
was
so
a game.
Different.
That was a game
and
changer.
It fumbled, and the minute that happened, it was just like game over. Dallas is gonna win. But I was like, please, Detroit, could you just cover? And back-to-back pick six. Ah. God, that made me sick. That was my parlay buster. I had a 3-leg parlay with my favorite and my dog. God, Detroit was my fave. That's what made me sick.
That was the Falcons Lions woodshedder last week.
Yeah, just like, I gotta say, like, listening to your handicap, like when I did listen to it, you were pretty much on the money with it. Maybe I got cute here and just tried to fade a Dallas team who I don't think a lot of people are high on, but this was a spot where, like, I thought, like, the last 2 weeks not the last 2 weeks, I thought the last week with Detroit when they got shut out, I was like, there's no way that's happening again. And sure as shit, they only threw up 6. Yeah. They were a touchdown away.
It's tough because a lot of people early in the year thought Detroit was going to be a lot better. They're literally last place in the NFC.
It's so weird because they do look better than last year. You remember them last year. They were just like, you steamrolled them. This year, it's like, Oh
They've
wow, they could actually like score.
they've
Oh
had
my
a
god, but
tough
their defense
they've
terrible.
had
Like
some tough scheduled games though. I mean, they've had some tough. They played the Eagles, who are really good. They played Dallas, who I think's very good.
yeah, they
Played
played a
some
lot
tough
of
teams.
good. They did
Seattle,
play a
who's
lot of good
turning out
teams.
to be good. Like, yeah, they played.
Yeah, you're 100% right. But at the same time, it's like they have the same record, but you look at how they play, minus the last two games, and you were thinking, wow, like one or two plays go their way, maybe they're winners. And then just, I don't like at all what I'm seeing these last 2 weeks. I'm not saying that just because they fucking killed most of my bets. I just don't, like, for some reason, after that shutout, it's like they forgot what football is.
Yeah,
Jared Goff just regressed to last season.
yeah.
I don't know what it is. Like no Amon, kind of like you were saying too. No Amon-Ra St. Brown, and you look at this team, and it's just like, who the fuck are they?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he went out with that concussion. That was big too.
That was a killer for your fantasy team. At this point, I'm just like, I don't know if I put Detroit on auto fade, but it's something I'm really going to consider from this time out, just because I don't even like anything that they're doing at this point. Beforehand, it was like their offense. Okay, I could see them playing back and forth, but they can't even do that anymore.
Detroit on the road. Detroit on the road. You got to be careful. They're not the same team.
No, but look, Dallas wasn't even that good. I wasn't even that impressed with Dak returning. Garbage touchdown at the last minute. Like, kind of salvaged it if you're a fantasy player, but yeah. You got to think, if you're a Cowboys fan and you were watching that game and you don't put up 30 on Detroit at home, you got to be concerned.
Well, especially with the Giants as good as they are, and yeah, it's getting
with the Eagles undefeated.
Yeah, getting competitive.
Even with Washington now, I mean, we'll get to them here in a minute. I just wanted to go over my favorite of the week real quick. The team that actually managed to salvage some victory. God, I was just I was on the ball here. Like Tennessee at home.
Yeah.
Against Matt Ryan. Like, what were the book? I have a new team of the week. It's going to be called my Chewbacca team of the week. And every week it's going to be Detroit. Or not Detroit. It's going to be Tennessee. If they just keep putting this team at like 2.5, 1.5 against horrible
That's a
teams.
tease for week 8. That's a tease for week 8. And let me tell you, Steve, I'll tease it too. I'm 100% with you. You heard my handicap last week. I think it was 9 of 10 last week. Now it's 10 of 11 against AFC South opponents. Like this Tennessee Titans team, they're written off. They just find ways to win. They just find a way.
Especially when they're an underdog, it's like they just do it. Like you're going to give me 2.5 against Matt Ryan
in Tennessee too.
In Tennessee, okay.
Did you see Matt Ryan got benched? He's like benched now. He's injured.
Apparently he has an injury. Now he's on the bench, but I don't know if that injury was from like a football player or whether the coach just kicked him in the ass too hard. I don't know.
Like Russell Wilson, he's hurt.
Well, also too, like Mike Vrabel, now he's 9-0 off a regular season bye.
Yeah, he's good off the bye too. Yeah.
Mike, that was my handicap. You're getting Mike Vrabel off the bye against Matt Ryan. And again, did the Titans really excel? Not really, but I mean, did the Colts do anything to make you think, wow, they could keep this close?
Yeah, in a bad division, they just win. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're going to beat the Colts twice, if you're going to be 10 of 11 against your division, that's how you're going to win it. So
guaranteed. And yeah, I mean, my last point too, I mean, that pick 6 really did change the tide. And you got to wonder with Tannehill, is his job on the line with Malik Willis in the background just waiting to get his reps? Or do you think Tannehill is going to be the guy for a little bit?
As long as they keep winning, I mean, the team just, again, they're not as good as I thought they'd be, but somehow you look and they're 4-3, they're in first place, like they just win.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Speaking of just winning, the Giants, dog of the week.
Double dog, double like, that's what happens when we have a double like, you should be putting money on that because we were money
Yeah,
right there.
yes, sir. Just again, here was my quick handicap: Chewbacca. The
Made no
Giants were.
sense.
It made 0 sense. +3 on the road to the Jaguars, who were 0-7, now 0-8 ATS against the NFC since Trevor Lawrence became quarterback. Daniel Jones won his last 3, now 4 AFC matches. Like, that just seemed too easy. Even though that game was really a bit of a struggle watching it and having half a heart attack, but
Yeah, that was the only game that it scared me because it was like, it was like that Chiefs game against the Colts that got us earlier in the
yeah,
year. Like, am I missing something? Why are the 5-1 Giants a 3-point underdog against Jacksonville? What has Jacksonville done that's that good? And now Jacksonville almost came out with a win. They got stopped on the 1 yard line,
yeah, that
but
got really scary.
but the
And that
cover
almost
was never really in doubt. I mean, the Giants were hung around for a while, so it wasn't like the cover was in doubt.
God, yeah, maybe the only thing I could think of it was a Brian Daboll fade because I mean I don't remember necessarily with the Bills other than that one game, but like, is it a Daboll thing against Jacksonville where
Well,
he
I do.
chokes?
The Bills and Jaguars have played a lot of close games. Um, Same thing like with them and the Titans. That was kind of the AFC South. The Bills were never really. They always kind of play close games against the Colts, the Titans, the Jaguars. Not necessarily Houston, but
Well,
yeah.
they
So
just
that
suck.
that's why. I mean, I guess that's. But no, it made no sense. It was really like the you kind of looked at it and it was just what's going on. So.
Yeah. Speaking of another team, like I was on the right side, but not the wrong. I was on the right side of the handicap, just wrong side of the bet. The way I did it. Cleveland, when they went to Baltimore, I mean, considering Baltimore has now they haven't covered since week 3.
They're a disappointing team to me.
They might be the most. I don't know who's more disappointing, them or Denver, because it's like Baltimore at least has
Well, you
heart, where
haven't named
Denver.
the most disappointing team yet. We'll get to them. But
Well, we'll get to them, sure.
yeah, we'll get to
I
them. We'll get to them. Yeah, I'm waiting to get to them. But no,
yeah, I was my thinking for that game. Like, Browns didn't cover in 5. They didn't cover their like the 5 matchups with the Ravens. They didn't cover. They didn't cover their last 3. Baltimore 2-6 ATS as home favorites. Now they're 2-7 since 2021. Brissett hasn't had a road win. My thinking for this was like Baltimore, like, okay, maybe they win at home against Cleveland. That doesn't seem too impossible. But I'm just sitting here like, how are they laying 6.5? Considering Jacoby Brissett like doesn't lose by much, at least this season,
yeah.
other than the Atlanta game.
Well, I think the thought was. I mean, my thought was, and I mean, I ended up taking Ravens money line anyway, just because it's hard to really trust this Ravens team to cover. They've been a disappointment. But I think the thought was Ravens are a good running team. They'll run all over Cleveland's defense. And the problem was they could not keep Lamar upright. I mean, he got sacked so much in that game. Every other play, he's taking a 15-yard sack. So, yeah, that was
Yeah, that was
difficult.
wild. Cleveland, like, for the longest time, just were not a sweat until the very end. And I'm just sitting here thinking, like, there's no way they'll fucking win this. Like, and then they had the 61-yarder, which I thought was batshit insane. I'm like, why are you letting Cade York? Is that this fucker's name?
Yeah.
You're letting him kick a 61-yarder in Baltimore with the wind.
Probably would have been good if it didn't get blocked. It was actually looking good, but it got blocked.
God, it just seems like whenever Cleveland goes for the kick, it doesn't go their way.
No,
That's what
you're right.
baffles
They've
me.
literally lost, I think, 4 games by 10 points total. I mean, it's
Maybe, yeah. Like, and the fucked up thing was they still stopped Baltimore and had another drive, and just couldn't do it. But Baltimore again, like, was this going to be another moment? Baltimore just like lays an egg at home, And that's what I was afraid of. That's why I leaned the Cleveland 6.5 at that end. Unfortunately, I parlayed that with two other teams on the spread at 6.5, Detroit being one of them, and it fucked me over. Now for the other team that fucked me over too, Atlanta, when they went to the Bengals as 6.5-point road dogs, 220 on the money line. This was a game I could have swore. I was like, I know Atlanta sucks on the road, but they were 7-2-1 ATS in their last 10 road games and against AFC teams separately. Bengals won last week in a last-second bullshit, like, not Hail Murray, but a last-minute drive to New Orleans, whose defense I thought was worse. Burrow was still only 3-7, so I was like, I would take Atlanta plus the 6.5, and I sat here, I was like, dude, Atlanta could very well win this. Like, that's not out of the realm of possibility. Well, it is. And you know why? It's because they suck. And I'll get into that in the Week 8 handicap, but
that's
Atlanta,
harsh. That's harsh.
The more I look at this Atlanta team, I don't think they're as good as their ATS record shows. I actually think they could be the same Falcons as you predicted at the beginning of the season. I just think it's being disguised very well.
I think their pass defense is not very good. I mean, they got smoked by Burrow. Holy crap, that was crazy.
Oh, look, Jamar Chase got another long bomb.
Tyler Boyd had like 150 yards in the first half. It was insane.
It was disgusting. Like, Joe Burrow had like almost 500 yards passing for no reason. God. And the crazy thing, too, was like I think it got to like 35-17 with a lot of time, and it was just like Atlanta did nothing with it. And I was sitting here thinking, like, God, is Atlanta going to get another backdoor cover? Like, is this really going to happen? Is this how it's going to go? And no, they just didn't do shit.
The one time you need them to, they don't.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I was like, that's why I'm sitting here thinking, like, did I get cute with Atlanta again? Like, because they were my team. I was on them. And not always the best handicaps, but they paid out. So I was like, the 1 week I didn't do it, they ended up smoking the 49ers. So I was like, oh shit, okay, maybe they're legit. And then
that was one of my split split money line spread picks. So I had Cincinnati right on the money line because I did have a feeling that they were going to win, even though they were at home where they're not as good. But yeah, the spread was. I mean, if you didn't tease it, the spread was never in doubt. It was,
oh no, I did tease the spread. It still didn't help. Still didn't help.
Yeah, I was.
God, but again, that's the thing. Like, if I had teased the Bengals down and they won that way, I'd kick myself in the ass. I teased Atlanta the other way; they just lost. Nothing I can do. God. Okay. Let's get to this next game. And before we get started, we need to have a talk, buddy. Okay, how many weeks have I had to hear you bitch about Aaron Rodgers?
Well, you know what?
And how the Packers have broke your heart.
And it's not happening this week because they play the Bills, and they're going to get smoked because they suck.
We went over this before. What on earth? Like, I had to listen to you talk yourself into taking the Packers, and not even a good, like, talk yourself into it. It was just, you're disgusted with taking Washington.
Bro, how did they? Tell me how. Look, the Packers, I mean, I could literally go on a 10-hour rant of this fucking
I feel like I know I owe you 2 Cinerators. I'll call it 3 or 4 with interest. But I feel like you owe the world 1.
No, there will definitely be a incinerator due for this fucking Packers team. How in the hell? Now, this is what drives me a little nuts. Forget about even Aaron Rodgers for a minute, who is immunized from success. His receivers can't do shit. Nobody gets open. It's like watching piss dry. Okay.
Oh, we'll get to that. We'll get to that type of game next.
Every fucking time the Packers get a fucking defensive touchdown, it's called back because of a goddamn penalty. Fumble return for a touchdown. There's the flag. Another illegal fucking contact. Holy shit. Every week you're watching. That's how they screw you too. They can't just lose with fucking dignity. They can't just go and get their asses handed to them. You go, you're watching. Oh shit, Packers defensive touchdown. There's the flag, and you see it too. The motherfucker's on the sideline complaining to the coach, and it's like, oh no, please, please. You're like praying. The refs will pick up the flag, like it'll be an uncatchable ball. Like please something, holding, defense. And do the Packers ever step up and get a stop after that? No. They let Taylor fucking Heineke fucking fresh into the starting lineup, drive right up the field and score. I mean, you go and you're watching it, and it's like the Packers are winning. Come on. Okay, I know the Packers have lost 3 straight. Like, they can't possibly let Taylor Heineke get a game. Oh, shit! Game-winning drive, Taylor Heineke.
Yeah.
Now they play the Bills. Aaron Rodgers. Oh, maybe this is what we need. We need to go to Buffalo where the Bills have won 5 straight. And we're going to be an 11-point underdog. And maybe this is where our season turns around.
I think his Hall of Fame career induction could be turned around after that Bills game. I mean, the Bills are coming off the bye too. Like,
God, I hope the Bills beat this fucking shit team by like 50. I hope Aaron Rodgers gets sacked like 7 times.
God.
A little pissant.
That was the one game I had a bit of struggle watching. That in the Atlanta game, but Atlanta I was able to see over. God, Aaron Rodgers is just immunized from winning this season. I don't know what it is. I think he was worried about the side effects of the COVID shots. I think he should have been worried about whatever immunized him, because I think the side effects are he just fucking sucks now. I mean...
Yeah. He's not playing well, and their receivers are horrible. They get no fucking separation.
You wonder why Randall Cobb got dropped the first time. And then you watch him play here, and then, he hasn't done shit. Alan Lazard is the number 1.
And then he got hurt, and it's like there's nobody. Dobbs is dropping wide open fucking passes. I think they had a fumble. This Packers team is just garbage. Shit.
The moment when Rodgers is just like yelling at Matt LaFleur, he's just like, what the fuck are we doing? What are we doing? Is Rodgers really getting to the point he's going to start blaming the coach again? Because at this point, I don't think it's the coach. I don't think it's... Maybe it's the receivers. But at some point, if you're the quarterback and you're the better player, you're blaming the rest of your team for the drops. And I'll have to look this up, too, because he said something about having to cut some of these bastards. I swear to God, he started mentioning how some people are going to have to get cut if they don't keep up. Rodgers, if you're a fucking leader, own up to the fact you fucking lost. Don't be blaming everybody else for your misfortunes and your handicaps.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what failures do. You know what the fucked up thing is? I have to quote Conor McGregor here, who I may or may not be a fan. He said, winners focus on winning, losers focus on other winners. And what is Aaron Rodgers doing? He's focusing on looking at other winners. He's not focusing on fucking winning. He's just focusing on pointing the blame at everybody else. And it's fucking pathetic.
This Packers team, they're in shambles. I mean, their defense can't stop the run. Every time they make a big play, they commit some fucking penalty. And their offense, I mean, it's just bro, I mean, I think Tre'Davious White might be close to coming back for the Bills. Obviously, I don't want to give too much away. That'll be in the next video, but okay.
Yeah, here we go.
11-point underdog in Buffalo. Good luck.
Yeah, last note. Aaron Rodgers, here was the article. He says guys who are making too many mistakes shouldn't be playing.
Okay, Rodgers, you're benched. Bench for you, dipshit.
Yeah, I have nothing else to say. God, it's so pathetic too. That's my take. And my handicap for that game as to why. And the fucked up thing too is I shouldn't give you too much shit. I picked the Packers too here. I really did, because I actually thought this would be the wake up game. You get Taylor Heineke.
Look, sometimes as a gambler, you need to be embarrassed. You trust the process. You do it. You need to be embarrassed. But I'll tell you what, 4 straight weeks of disappointment. There ain't gonna be a fifth fucking week. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Not
you
this
said that
week,
last
baby.
week. You said that last week with the third and fourth.
No,
And here
no
we are.
more.
Like,
Not this
no
week.
more.
Maybe the
done.
week after. Who knows? But not
Do
fucking this week.
do a Incinerator and then think about it. The next time you think about betting on the Packers, do a Incinerator
Swear to God.
and then consider it.
I may have to have a forced bet on the Packers game for the rest of the year, and just every time I pick wrong, just incinerator.
You might have to. Okay, let's get to the next game. Speaking of fucking bombs, Carolina hosted the Bucks.
God, yeah. Holy crap.
Originally, it was a 10-point spread. The minute Christian McCaffrey gets traded, which, by the way, what was San Francisco thinking? I don't get that trade whatsoever. Like, Christian McCaffrey was like the last piece you didn't need. Considering you had Eli Mitchell coming back in November. Considering Jeff Wilson was very serviceable and was doing just enough as it was.
Maybe they should have traded for a quarterback, but, you know.
I mean, they should have, but, you know, I don't think they get it yet, and that's okay. So, anyways, they went up to 13.5. And I sat there and I was like,
was it how did I not best bet of the year 13.5? Holy crap.
I sat there and I was like, Carolina is on auto fade. The Bucks have now dropped. I want to say now it's 5 in a row now, but at the time 4 in a row. I was like, wow, both these teams are on auto fade. What the fuck do I do? I'll take the points and just say fuck it. That was my handicap. I didn't like either team. I was like the Bucks should win. Like, that was my pick. The Bucks would win minus 500 because, you know, at minus 500 odds, if you don't fucking win, it's not like a UFC fight where, like, anything can happen. In the sport of football, if you're at minus 500, odds are you're fucking winning. Like, no pun intended. And then just, like, Mike Evans, case of the oopsies.
Oh, that was bad. Oh, that was
embarrassing. Brady getting sacked every fucking drive. Like, PJ Marino from the XFL. Like, I applaud that. Say what you will, the guy's a winner.
Wow.
And the
No,
one
I
he
said
lost,
he
lost
didn't I say
Rams,
he was
but he got
decent?
injured.
I said he was serviceable 2 weeks ago. You were like, oh no, he sucks.
His stats say he sucks. He's not a good quarterback. But again, I'm gonna like eat my lumps. The guy is a winner.
Well,
and
no offense, you can't win when you can't score. And Tom Brady offense 3 points. Come on.
Yeah, and it wasn't like the Panthers really did much. They actually did more on defense than I thought they would. God, Brady too. It was like so weird. Like the thing with Brady and the Bucks, it was like he loses to the Saints, he beats up the fucking Panthers. This year, he beat the Saints, and then the Panthers literally fucked his ex-wife now in front of him. Like, and then Antonio Brown goes on a fucking Instagram. Oh, that was classic too. That was just like ultimate trolling.
I'm going to say what I said before. Can this guy please just go away? Like, really? Go away, man.
Photoshopped a picture of himself over Tom Brady with Giselle right after the loss. Just, God. Like, can you just come out and say, like, Tom Brady's a cuck?
Can we talk about how Tom Brady literally blew a marriage to this supermodel to fucking be on a 2 and whatever, 3 and whatever?
They're tied for last place in the NFC South.
God, they're just so, like, just fecal matter. They lost to the Steelers, man. I mean, come on. Oh, my God. They're bad.
Yeah.
Nothing else to say.
So in a weird way, that was originally going to be my over-under pick. I actually was just like, Tom Brady can't score. What's PJ Walker going to do? 38.5. It could be 30.5, and I would have took the under. And God, was it just so accurate, but not in the way that I thought it would. Like, is Brady done? Like,
yeah.
We'll end the game. Is his career over? Is him and Rodgers done?
Yeah. I think a lot of guys. Mike Evans may be done. He doesn't look the same. There's a lot of guys who are. It's getting to be that time.
God, yeah. Well, speaking of time for losing, Houston coming off the bye, they went to Vegas. I was actually there. I considered getting a delayed flight to go check out Allegiant Stadium. By the way, shout out to Vegas. When the Raiders came over, I just, as a Broncos fan and natural Raider hater, kind of figured Vegas would be a bullshit home, but they've actually embraced the Raiders fandom and
Yeah.
team with open arms. There's like every casino has a Raiders shop
Oh shit. Okay.
built in now where you can just buy Raiders merch.
And they have a good home field too. Not like the LA Chargers where it's like half the stadium is like they actually have a pretty decent home field
It's
for Vegas.
actually so if you stay at I want to say Mandalay, but I could be wrong. There's a literal tunnel that you could walk to the stadium from.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
And considering where the other casinos are in tandem, like you could stay at another one, just walk a little bit further, and you have a free way to get to Allegiant Stadium. We drove by it a couple times. It was really nice. So, anyways, I had a chance to see this. It was kind of a fucking Barney pick in the situation where I was like, wow, Houston sucks. Vegas is at home. I'm in Vegas. It makes sense. And I was like, I would lay the 7 with Vegas here. Not the way I thought it would go, but Vegas at home after the bye versus Houston on the road.
Yeah, they didn't look great to begin the game, but
Yeah. By the way, 2-8 on the road now. Guess who the only two teams Houston have beat on the road since last season?
Jacksonville.
Very good. Yes, sir. That's it.
Yeah, I finally got a Steve question right. There we go.
That's the only team they can beat on the road. So, like, and now I'll be fair. That was something I looked up afterwards. I didn't know that looking into the game. Unfortunately, I didn't bet the 4 o'clock games, but that would have been my favorite lock of the 4 o'clock
I like
spread.
the
Like
Raiders too. Yeah.
it just like not that it made too much sense, but I was just like, why is this only 7?
I think the Raiders are a lot better than I think you look at their record, but they've lost a lot of close games, and especially the way Josh Jacobs is running now. I mean, I'd be look out for the Raiders. I think they're a lot better than maybe people give them credit
they
for.
they were the best 1-4 team. I don't know if there was 1-4 or 1-5. They were considered like the best 1-4, 1-5 losing team. And you're absolutely right. You look at how they're playing recently, but you also look at how they lost and how bad the losses were. And not bad in the sense like they got their asses beat. It was like
Yeah.
so close. You gave it up overtime. Where the games could have flipped either way.
Yeah. Could have
And
beat the Chiefs. And they're good in October too, the Raiders. I looked at a stat
yeah.
today that they're good in October. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, I thought I mentioned that against the
Oh, against the
Chiefs.
Chiefs. Against the Chiefs you did.
I brought that up a little
Yeah.
bit. I was like,
Credit to
that was
Big
the last
Bucks.
time
You
they.
did.
I was like, that was the last time they beat the Chiefs. It was a Monday night game in October, and the Raiders for some reason are good then. Like I don't know what it is, but yeah. Speaking of teams, I've never been high on, and am not going to be high on for a long time. The Jets. They went to Denver with Brett Rippin,
Yikes.
where to give a little context for the viewers at home, back in 2020, I want to say it was 2020, I was so distraught at this Broncos team early in the season. It was Thursday night. I was off the Friday after. And I was like, wow, I'm going to have to watch this shit. And I decided to make a little drinking game. And it was called Rippers for Rippin'.
If you check
And
our Twitter page at DeGents Podcast, you
you saw the rules.
saw the rules.
Now, I've adjusted these rules to be drinking for Driscoll, doubles for Drew Lock, hanging out with Kendall Hinton.
You need like wild for Wilson, bro. You can't watch your team sober. It's like fucking
God, yeah. So adjust the name and quarterback to whoever, but the rules essentially apply the same. I I caught it in the airport where unfortunately shots were like $10 a pop. Probably would have blown through all my savings having to watch that shit, but God, like you get Zach Wilson in the exact spot you would want him to lose a
God,
game.
he's so bad too, Zach Wilson. Can't complete a pass, running around like an idiot. Should have. You guys got to been unlucky
We should
because
have
there was
won.
a fumble. That was a fumble that they missed.
We should have won that kind of game. That's what kills me. And I'm not even saying this is a Russell Wilson type game he would have won because he's proven time and time again he's not going to win those games. You put Drew Lock in those games, like healthy, we probably win. You put Trevor Siemian in that kind of a game, we probably win. Rippin, the last time he played the Jets in this kind of a game, fucking won.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting here like, what is it about this team? Because now I can't sit here and say this is Russell Wilson's fault. God, is it bad that like I wish Pat Shurmur was back with his bland, boring ass offense? Like at least we kind of had drives. This is just like watching piss yellow paint dry.
And especially too, he forced those balls deep late and forced the interception, which was bad. Hey, can we say one thing? Look, I'm not going to talk shit on Sauce Gardner because he's playing great. He's probably going to be defensive rookie of the year, all that good stuff. Does anybody call a pass interference on this guy?
No.
I mean,
oh
no
my
offense,
God.
like a couple times he's grabbing the receivers. I'm like, wow, that's like not a penalty.
No PI. And these were PI calls too, where it was like right at the red zone. So if they throw the flag, Denver's in the red zone, they could run and push it in. And that one touchdown, if they did that one time, we're looking at a tie, we're looking at overtime. Where anything could happen, bullshit is what it is. No penalties for the Jets, but all of them on Denver. Like,
well, Jets had a lot of penalties, but not necessarily. I thought
not the
there
ones
were
that
a
mattered.
couple of missed PIs on Sauce Gardner, especially a couple late in the game where, I mean, he's grabbing the guy's jersey. I don't know. I mean, you see those calls all the time. You let him play. That's fine. I'm just surprised. I was a little surprised. So.
Yeah, it was so disappointing to see. Kind of the same thing in a lot of games. It's so piss poor the consistency that these NFL referees and officiants have in this league. And how literally depending on what team is going to be reffing your match is going to depend on whether the over-under will hit or whether this player or receiver will get yards or whether a stop on third down is going to get called back for a PI or whether it won't. Like, God, can the NFL just like get their shit together and like get these refs to start being consistent one way or the other?
And I don't like the illegal contact point of emphasis stuff. Is just like, I mean, there are times when it's so weird because you'll see Sauce Gardner practically mug a guy, but the ball's in the air, they won't call it. But then, like, some guy, he puts his hand on a receiver for half a second and, well, illegal contact. It's just weird. It's weird.
God, the refs need to be better. And they just don't. And then you wonder why we had the strike. Then you saw the replacement refs and you were like, holy fuck.
And it's so weird because illegal contacts are probably, you see them all the time, but scoring's down. Nobody could score. Very weird.
Well, yeah, it's hard to score when there's a penalty thrown every other play for some bullshit illegal contact. Or if there's a holding that, like, the one time they call it, the other time they don't. It's like,
and I think
that's what pisses me off.
You're seeing the good quarterbacks. Like, really, think about the good quarterbacks in the league right now. The top, I mean, Geno Smith, I don't know if that's the next game on the ledger. This may be a good ledger.
Actually, it is. So, good.
Geno Smith is like a top 5 quarterback. I mean, God, what the fuck is going on? Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Geno Smith. I mean, can't believe the Chargers lost. I mean, wow, that was surprising.
Yeah, seriously. So again, here was another weird thing. Not really a handicap, but I figured, like I was telling you off air, Seattle going into the Chargers, not really that far of a distance. 4.5 point spread. My thinking was I know the Seahawks defense was bad, but like, what have the Chargers really done that made me was like, wow, they're gonna lay 4.5, especially when Seattle, like, I don't want to say they're inconsistent, but more often than not, they've been good. And I'm just thinking like, okay, 4.5. So Chargers to win by 5. Seems like an awful lot when you're playing against Geno Montana and
Yeah,
Pete
and you could have
Carroll.
gotten it like 6 earlier in the week. So
They,
yeah, it was
yeah,
there for you.
that was the wild thing. The number was going down, so I was thinking like, okay, shit, like
People like
maybe I'm
Seattle.
on the right side of this.
Yeah.
And I liked them on the spread, but I figured the Chargers would win at home, and they just kind of looked like how they showed up Monday night.
Seattle
Short
first
rest,
place NFC West. I mean, who would have thought that?
not me.
Their over under was 5.5. You could basically cash that ticket today. I mean, it's cash.
Yeah, you're sure right. I forgot about that. We like discussed that. We were like, I think we even said maybe over, but like you'd have to be optimistic. Holy hell, they're like a win away. Same with the Jets. The Jets were 5.5. I actually had an over under ticket. I bet the under because fuck the Jets. God hates the Jets, and now they're 5-1. And
I should have pulled the trigger. I don't like those over under plays for the year. I don't play a lot of them. Maybe next year I will. Because I actually like after draft night, I like the Jets over 6.5, I think. And
yeah,
yeah, I should have. Well, oh well.
that's okay.
Hindsight's 2020. But yeah,
Yeah,
Seahawks
hindsight.
looking
Yeah,
good.
hindsight's 2020. I would have bet on the fucking Seahawks to cover, the fucking Texans to lose by 7 or more. Yeah,
I wouldn't
hindsight's
have bet on the
2020.
Packers, yeah,
Yeah.
no, of course.
Well, here's the one hindsight I did have right. The Chiefs going into the Niners. Um, Here's the one thing I think you missed, and this was literally the only part of the handicap I had that was relevant. The Chiefs have been the best team to bet on after they lose with Patrick Mahomes and Andy
Yeah.
Reid.
And I think
Like
if I
they always
remember
come back.
correctly, I actually changed I might have changed the Chiefs pick. I don't remember because originally I liked San Fran at 3, and then I thought the number changed to 2.5, and I went on the Chiefs. So maybe I was wrong about that. I like the Chiefs to win the game, but not necessarily cover the spread. And God, the Chiefs are they're good. I mean, they're just good.
I mean, I don't like that Juju Smith-Schuster is like, oh yeah, we played Warzone with the boys before the game and we got 3 dubs and that's our camaraderie.
If
Like
it works.
but it works. So like, what do
If it
you do?
works,
Like
F it.
Juju's been getting scores out of nowhere all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like, what do you?
Me,
Okay,
Cole, Hardman, like 7 touchdowns. I mean, Jesus Christ.
unbelievable. Well, no, and to be fair too, like I didn't think it made sense that the number went down because they got Christian McCaffrey. I was like, wait a minute, he's gonna go from Carolina to San Francisco and play. He's not gonna know shit for the playbook. He's gonna know a halfback draw or a screen. What? Like that made no sense to me. And I was like, San Fran at home, they're not as good. Kansas City literally just lost to Buffalo. Like this is the perfect spot for. And literally they played in the Super Bowl. I'm like, yeah, they'll wake up for this game. That was like too easy for me.
Yeah, that was that turned out to be a walkover. And now the Chiefs are on the bye, so you know what our play will be next week, right?
Yes, sir.
Chiefs lost the bye. That's like cha-ching.
Andy Reid off the bye is payday loan.
Yeah, he's what is he like 16-2 now or some crazy? Wow.
Something
I'm
crazy
sure
like
you
that.
will provide us that number next week. But yeah,
Oh, for
Chiefs,
sure.
Chiefs are good. Chiefs are good.
All right, into the prime time. I got to catch this on the flight home, which was really cool. Pittsburgh went to Miami with the return of Tagovailoa. This was an interesting play by me. This was the same logic I applied to Dallas. This was the same logic I kind of applied to San Francisco. This was the same logic I more or less applied with Washington, even though Washington didn't play in my favor. Why, with Tua returning, were they going to lay 7.5 with Pittsburgh? Who, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't they just beat Tampa?
Well, the ghost of Tampa, and yeah, I mean, I my handicap was I liked Miami with the Tua boost, which turned out to be correct in some ways, but I was concerned about like what you said, and the number was just ended up being too high.
So yeah,
It just ended up being too high.
my pick was Pittsburgh at 7.5. I don't know what it was at game time, just because between the flights and everything, I didn't really have time to check. But God, that like it was 16-10 at halftime, and I was like, okay, Miami's gonna blow this out. That's a wrong pick. Okay, but at least I got Miami right as the winner. Nothing happened. Back and forth punts, interceptions, and
I'll tell you what, I am really down on Miami after there were 4 passes that Tua threw that probably
they should have been picked.
Intercepted. Yeah.
Oh yes, you're absolutely right. I forgot about those. No, Tua, that game should have been lost. That Pittsburgh plus 7.5 should have been like a lock. That should have been like guaranteed. And the fact that it was that close for an entire half of football, the fact that Pittsburgh couldn't catch an interception to save their lives was just like the epitome of that organization this year.
Yeah.
No, I mean, other than that, like it's one of those games like I got it right. I shouldn't have.
Yeah, I thought Pittsburgh probably should have won outright, to tell you the truth, because they had a couple chances. I'll tell you what, man. You look at this Miami team. They beat the Bills, even though the Bills outgained them by like 200 yards. They beat the Ravens after being down like 38-13 or something ridiculous number. You're starting to look at this Miami team and wonder how good they really are. I'm telling you, right now, I'm starting to wonder, is this team any good at all?
I think they're my early prediction, or we'll just say mid-season, they're going to be the new Patriots this year, where last year the Patriots went 10-7. They had a win against the Bills, and they went to the wild card and they lost and got their ass beat. I have the same kind of feeling they're going to go to the playoffs, maybe 10-7, maybe 9-8. I don't know. And they're going to go out first round because they're just not a well-rounded team yet. I think they're on the right path, personally. I would take a look at the futures line and see where Miami to make playoffs is. Maybe even if you're ballsy, you could look at them as a division hedge if you played the Bills. But I don't see Miami getting out of the first round.
Well, I'll tell you what, they can't run the ball. They're ranked like third in passing. Is that sustainable? I mean,
no.
Well,
they're third in passing because they have Tyreek Hill. I mean, and Jalen Waddle. You could just long bomb it. Fuck it, he's up there somewhere.
Yeah, Tua did not. They had a great start to the game, and then a lot of nothing after that.
Yeah, a whole lot. And by the way, like I'm debating. Do I want to save this rant for now, or do I want to save it for the week 8 handicap? Can we stop with this Kenny Pickett love? Like, can we just stop finally? Can we just admit the kid's not that good, or he's at least not ready? Like,
bad interception at the end of the game. Bad interception.
Twice. 3 times as many picks than touchdowns. Now, again, his first game, he threw 3.
But some of those were not on him. Chase Claypool, the ball bouncing off his hands like a freaking backboard, was not his fault. That interception at the end of the game was really bad. No reason to be doing that.
Well, I think at the end of the day, you look at guys like Big Ben Roethlisberger. You look at guys like Geno Smith. You look at guys like PJ Walker. Say what you fucking will. I think the guy's stats are way worse. They're winners. They know how to win a game. They know how to manage it.
Yeah, that's great.
Kenny Pickett is not a fucking winner. At least yet. I'm not going to count him out. I'm not going to say he shouldn't be a quarterback. Admittedly, he does more than Mitch Trubisky. But you know what Mitch Trubisky has been able to do? win a game. Has Kenny Pickett won a game for the Steelers yet? No. No,
I'll
he
tell you
hasn't.
what, Mitch Trubisky, say what you will of him, he went to the playoffs with Matt Nagy.
Yeah.
Let that sink in.
God, I wonder if Mike Tomlin made a mistake switching out for Pickett. I really do
No,
wonder.
I don't think so.
I
He's
think
got
it's
to
getting
learn.
close.
He's got to take his lumps. He's got to learn. If he's going to be a player, you look at that Miami game and you say, Kenny, that interception at the end of the game, not acceptable, stupid play. And hopefully next time he doesn't do that.
But in a league where you get guys like Mahomes, first year, astounding. Josh Allen, I think he had his lumps. Maybe that's the comparison. But Josh Allen, you knew was a winner. You knew he could lead the team. Rookie year,
Yeah,
even when he was
as
fucking
bad
up.
as he was rookie year, he had moments where it was like that throw in the Jacksonville game, the last game against Miami. Like you could see some glimpses. And,
Yes.
the question is throughout the whole year, are you going to see some glimpses where, wow, okay, Kenny Pickett looks like a guy. He looks like, what's going to be the question?
I see plays like he can make, but he's not winning. And that's what I'm not seeing. With Allen, with these other guys, I could see them like, okay, these are the kind of things that get a team over the hump to win. I'm not seeing that here with Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, and winning's the biggest. I mean, bro, you look at Daniel Jones this year. You look at Zach Wilson, as shitty as he's played. Like, winning is a great deodorant because if you're playing bad, if you're not that good, you get some wins. Who cares?
Bro, look at Cooper Rush for Dallas.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good one.
He has not been astounding. He has not made any crazy plays. But you know what he does? He wins.
Bailey
he
Zappi,
won you games.
Thing.
Well, oh God, no. Let's get into that. No, let's start there.
Do we need to, please?
No. So, okay. Now, admittedly, I was on the ball with you. I picked New England.
That was
they hosted Chicago. They hosted Chicago last night, Monday night in Foxborough. Belichick to tie. Correct me if I'm wrong. Tie or take the lead.
I think
for
to
most
take
wins.
over from Hallis and at home, just embarrassed by the Bears.
Shit the bed.
Embarrassed.
So, Jason, give me your thoughts. What?
It hurts too much. I mean, the problem with that whole game is with the quarterback switch. You go and it's like, okay, Mac Jones comes out, he looks dreadful. You go to Zappi, you get 2 touchdowns. And that kind of gave the team, it looked like it gave the team a little bit of a boost. But then the defense can't get a stop. I don't know how many times they let Justin Fields roll out of the pocket. It looked like something you'd see from, not a Bill Belichick, New England Patriots coach team. I mean, that's the best Fields has looked all year. And the Patriots defense just didn't even look like they were ready to play. Their offense couldn't do anything. They couldn't run the ball. And yeah, when you're looking and you see the Patriots can't run the ball, you're like, oh boy, this is
Ramondre Stevenson, which I thought Damian Harris would be back, but I didn't see him. But Ramondre Stevenson not being able to do what he's been doing the past few games, God, I don't. Here's my thing. I don't like at all what New England did that game, considering you gave Mac Jones, coming back off injury, you gave him 3 drives, 2 of which ended in a punt. Mostly not his fault because Stevenson couldn't get the run going. He throws 1 pick after kicking a guy in the nuts. Bad pick. A very bad pick. But, he throws 1 bad pick, and you bench him for Zappi.
Now,
let's be real, he wasn't that good. He was like a younger Cooper Rush. I swear, you look at him, and that's who he reminds. It's like a younger college Cooper Rush. And oh my God, he gets 2 touchdown drives. Oh my God. That's the Patriots fans around the world for Bailey Zappi. And then just shit. And then Justin Fields runs it down their throat. Now, and the Patriots thank him.
Do you think that that's what they needed? Because now, okay, all the fans could stop. Bailey Zappi isn't the guy. Mac Jones, you could spin it. Maybe he got rushed back. Maybe he needed another week to rest. You go up against the Jets. If Mac has a good game, now the controversy's over. Order has been restored.
I actually think the opposite, and here's why.
Oh, wow.
I'm actually very concerned. If not just if you're a football fan, I'd be like scared shitless if you're a Pats fan. This to me comes across as just Bill Belichick disorder, where he's trying to be big dick head coach swinging. From my understanding of the Mac Jones situation, Mac Jones was supposed to have surgery. The team doctors told him he needed to have surgery. Mac Jones refused. He got a second opinion. He didn't do the surgery. He then was able to start. Apparently, Belichick didn't like that. So now there's just this bullshit head coach. Apparently, Mac Jones is not talking shit, but he's questioning Matt Patricia and Joe Judge, people who have never been on the offensive side of the ball. Now all of a sudden calling plays. Shit's not working the same.
Oh, dude.
You get this Bailey Zappi kid who's winning. And even if you actually like look up the press conferences with all the players, none of them were happy about the switch either. They were actually all saying like, like we feel bad for Mac. Like we don't understand. This guy's been working his ass off. Respect to Bailey Zappi. He's been good too. But like, God, and now that the players are also like openly saying we don't understand why Belichick is doing what he's doing, this literally just screams to me he's begging and reaching for Tom Brady 2.0 here. And Bailey Zappi is not Tom Brady 2.0.
No.
He's discount Mac Jones.
No. Yeah.
Like,
I'll tell you what, man. This is their season this week. If you lose to the Jets are going to be 6-2. Bills, at the very worst, will be 5-2. You're going to be, 3-5? This could be the Patriots season here.
This could be the end of Bill Belichick. You lose to the Jets. This could be the end of Bill Belichick.
Yeah, this could be the season right here. This is a big. They have to beat the Jets. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They have to win this game. Desperation.
Yeah. It's considering too, the Jets are just the team. We'll give a little bit of a spoiler for next week. The Jets are a team that the Patriots just always beat up. They always win. If you lose this game, I think the Patriots organization is in shambles at this point. We already knew the dynasty was up. You got to wonder, is the franchise of the Patriots going to start going up in smoke?
Well, especially, too, like we said, winning's the best deodorant. And if they lose to the Jets, it's going to be who's your quarterback? What's going on with your offense? It's going to be – this week's going to be bad enough. Like, if Mac Jones goes in against the Jets, struggles, they lose – Sauce Gardner has 2 interceptions. Zach Wilson gets a win. It's going to be, what's wrong? Like, do you have a quarterback? Are you going to draft a quarterback? Are you going to start trading people? It's going to get ugly fast.
I think it's already getting ugly fast because I think Bill Belichick, by pulling Mac Jones as early as he did, I think if he had at least waited till the quarter, or say if Mac Jones threw like another pick, like right after that one, and just wasn't looking good, at least wait till the end of the quarter. You could go to him and say, hey, not your night. We're throwing the other kid in. We'll give you one more week. We'll name you as the starter. Belichick hasn't gone out and named a starter yet for next week. He has created a very unnecessary quarterback controversy.
Yeah.
And if you look at the way Jerry Jones handled it, Jerry Jones literally handled it the best by saying, if we're winning, we're going with it. Because you're right, winning is the best deodorant for a bad team. He never said Cooper Rush was going to be the starter. He never said that Cooper Rush was the new guy. He just said, look, we're winning. And as long as we're winning, we're going to stick to it. And then when Dak Jones was good and ready to come back, he came back. And now, granted, did he beat Detroit, like we mentioned earlier, in a bad fashion? Yeah, he did. But you know what? there's no quarterback controversy there. Belichick has now created a quarterback controversy in the media, in his own locker room, and now with his franchise. And that is what scares me. I don't
Yeah.
think that was the game where we needed to see Bailey Zappi lose. That was a game where it just created more problems.
And really, it could have been so easy too, because you go, why did you bench Mac Jones? Well, we thought he was ready. He had a few drives. We didn't feel that maybe his health was 100%, although he was moving around pretty well. But you could very easily go and say, didn't really think he was ready based on the first few drives, wanted to give him more time, whatever your reasons. And yeah, now basically this Jets game is massive. And if Mac Jones does start, and I think he should start because come on, like he
Yeah,
definitely has a better arm. It's if he struggles again, I mean, it's just going to be a world of catastrophe. And this is the type of year too. Like you play the Bills, I think later on in the season.
you
There are
haven't
some
played the Bills yet. You've already lost to the Dolphins.
yeah, there are some teams on that schedule that can embarrass you. Like you go to the Bills, you're playing backup quarterbacks, you're disorganized. Like they'll just Bills will win like 45-16 and just embarrass you. So better be careful.
God, yeah, no, the Patriots are scaring me right now. Like, kind of in the same way that like Green Bay is scaring me, where it's like, wow, is Aaron Rodgers' dysfunction really just like now coming to light? Was Devontae Adams really the only reason that team stayed together? And now it's just falling apart. Now I'm looking at this as like, wow, is Bill Belichick really just going to self destruct in front
And
of
you
us?
just wonder if it's just teams that were winning before, like Green Bay, they never had a problem. Devontae Adams was there, they were winning games, everything was good. And you just wonder if it was one of those things where the team locker room was really close to being in shambles and it was just, you know what, we're winning, everything's good, nobody has problems, or there are problems, but you know what, everyone's winning, so it's all good. And yeah,
Yep.
some of these teams, like you look at Green Bay, you look at New England and you just wonder if these losses start piling up, is it going to continue to be
Yeah,
just
and and it's such a weird way too, because like Justin Fields had a performance of his lifetime. I don't really know how he was on Monday nights, but I looked this up afterwards. Since Brady has left, Patriots have sucked on Mondays, and I can't believe I missed that.
oh,
Like
like I
literally,
said, no
and this is going to
Northeastern
be my
random
this
was
is my quick lesson to the people.
bad.
Do your handicapping, do your quick research, do whatever questions you have, even if it's simple as like how have the Patriots been on Mondays since Brady has left. Oh wow, they're 1-4. They only beat the Bills in that one weird wind game.
Yeah.
Huh, maybe I should consider taking the Bears plus the points. That's the kind of shit that could make you a loser and a winner.
Yeah, that pick was God, it looked like it just
It was
looked
a
like
shoe
such
in.
a great spot and then the quarterback controversy stuff just like completely fucking just derailed the whole game. Oh,
Well, the minute
frustrating.
he went in, like I feel like we had an excuse. But if Matt Jones stayed in and he just fucking ate shit and like blew chunks and didn't win whatsoever, I think we're sitting here saying, "Wow, bad handicap, bad pick. What the hell were we thinking?" And that's how I want to move forward as far as this game goes. It's like fuck the quarterback controversy. Why didn't we think to even look at the Bears when maybe that was an option? Because I know I
Yeah.
didn't do that, but I think
Yeah.
that's
I
a
think it
lesson
was a
for the
little
future.
Barney-ish because it's just Patriots against a bad team. They looked so bad on Thursday night. You remember they played Washington.
Yes,
They couldn't score. They couldn't protect Fields. Fields was getting walloped, and that I think the biggest thing was more New England's defense. Just last point on that game because I know we've been on it a while. Like New England's defense, no pressure, allowed Fields to just roll out at will, couldn't bring him down, couldn't do anything. Embarrassing performance from them. Embarrassing.
for sure. Yeah, and that'll be our last point there. Quick records just for the people at home if you're interested. Uh, take my record for what you will. I know I didn't give out a handicap, so you could think this is bullshit. That's fine. Um, Next week I'll be back and we're gonna see if I'm still good or at least decent, or if I'm just complete shit again and maybe have to go on another trip to Mecca. But here we go. 1 o'clock games. I went 4-3 ATS. 4-3 on the money line, 3-4 over unders. 4 o'clock games, 4-0 ATS, 3-1 money line, 2-2 over under. Primetime games, 1-2 ATS and money line, 0-3 over unders. Total for the week, 9-5 ATS, 8-6 money line, 5-9 for the over unders. I believe that's going to put me at 43, 50, and 1 ATS. And 51, 42, and 1 money line. And then we got 41 and 53 on the over-unders. So, not what I want to see, but a slight improvement from last week. And honestly, I think it was much needed one way or another. I'm coming into next week with a clear head and just a fresh start.
Yeah. Crazy. As well as you claim to have done ATS, you didn't make any money. Right.
I put my money on the wrong teams. That's
Yeah,
just kind of what happened.
That's how it goes.
The two teams I got wrong on the one. Well, I got 3 teams wrong on the 1 o'clock slate, but 2 of them were ones that I bet on.
Maybe I'll take a bye week next week. Maybe I'll go like 14-0 ATS or something like that.
Hey, we all deserve one every now and then.
No, so I actually, again, it was like a tale of 2 different things. ATS, I was only 6-8. 4 o'clock I was like 3-1 4 o'clock, so that was again 4 o'clock were the best. Only 1-2 on my locks of the week because of the Miami. No, let me think. Oh yeah, the fade of the week. So Miami -7 instead of -6. So that was a bit of a tough sort of beat. New England best bet horrible. Dog of the week obviously was good. And then money line though 9-5 money line. So I was good on that end there. So
yeah, my locks they were 2-2. Favorite and dog of the week hit. Fade of the week with the Lions. So close but so far, and my over under just had like no chance.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, I guess other than that, that's week 7. We're already, thank God. Actually, you know what? Thank God, it's week 8 coming up. Basically, almost the halfway point of the season done. We could hopefully end the first half on a positive note. We'll get into our handicaps in the next video.
Yes, sir. That'll be for tomorrow, and maybe we'll be in studio. Maybe we'll do this again from home. Otherwise, check us out on the Distinguished DeGents Twitter. Check out Harbor Discussion channel from producer John with his interviews. Also, where our episodes will be posted eventually.
Yes. I was gonna say we're back on Harbor Discussions, I believe. So that's good. After our little week hiatus, we'll be back on Harbor Discussions. So check us out.
Sounds good. Yes, sir. With that, bid you guys a good night.
Yeah, good night. Good night.